The first poem is something of an incantation, a summoning. It's called Ruby Sailing, and if any of you have been to the Ramp, a restaurant and bar, sometime music place, at the end of Mariposa Street on the bay, you may know what this is about. Ruby, Ruby, tethered for the time, but swaying, swaying, dipping, dipping, side to side, and front to back. I belong, you think I belong, because I'm tied. But tide pulls me out beyond tethering, out beyond belonging to where I'm not what floats, but what's floated. Where I'm owned by anything and everything which is out there, out there. Where is, there is, there is. Where I am swept, swamped, drowned, dried, and you can teach me what it is to be thought of, what it is to be written on, lain upon, what it is to lend something that can be taken away. Can we go? Just cast off? Can we go forever before the birds, before the wind, before the words, before time? Ruby! Ruby! Thank you. And I think Fred mentioned I've been a music journalist. I've got 3 poems here that deal actually with 3 different venues. Fred, how can I best stop this thing from popping? Is it best to have it up here, not that little?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, that's good.
Don't spin into it, and don't do the sounds. Those give you the pop.
They're part of our language, Fred.
I know, but you got to step away from the mic when you give.
All right. All right, the first place we're going to is the 7 Mile House in Brisbane. Actually so called because it's 7 miles south of the ferry building and was a stagecoach stop in the middle of the 19th century. Now it's a great place for jazz. Calling you up from the 7 Mile House and feeling you the jazz, clarion in hello, then lingering along your lobes. Is that you? Is this me? Desafinado, slightly out of tune, is gorgeously delicious. How fragrantly imperfect I am, imagining your sweet perfection. You doing me the same, we hugging it all together. Taking breaks from moon to moon, through all those seasons of yesterday's rains. We open buttons and snaps and let tomorrow's breezes blow in on us. Then back inside now, where a young singer, tall as she is pretty, lovingly grips the microphone. All of me. Why not take all of me? I'll take all of the anima I can handle, and when the jar is passed, I'll tip handsomely. We dress up to go out, to look like we can, to cover up our bulk of flesh and blood, but not our ears. Can we stay sweet, even after we're clothed as corpses? Will the band play flourishes for fatality? Excuse me, am I trying to get me drunk? Propelled and dimly lit, but not in the Zendo anymore. Go fuck yourself. Oh, I am. How deep is my ocean? Well, when am I diving? Little thoughts swim to be eaten by bigger thoughts. I got rhythm. I got sentience. Is that a word? That's why I got it. That's why I got married. Lists of things to get for the wife in the outside world. Be home soon. Thank you.
Yeah!
Okay, we're now going to Glen Park to the Bird and Beckett bookstore. I think that got mentioned earlier. Have you guys been there? They have lots of music and actually quite a bit of poetry. This poem has the longest title ever for any of my poems so far. It's called The 230 Jones Street Local 6 Literary Jazz Band, Chuck Peterson, leader, tenor sax, Howie Dadoon, tenor sax, clarinet, Glenn Deerdorf, guitar, Dean Riley, bass, Tony Johnson, drums. The band in the bookstore. The books will have to watch from their bookcases, waiting to sing through their covers while white-haired men, warmed by a small gathering of smiles in folding chairs, make music for the end of week or of life. Want an intro? Dean inquires. It'll be 3 flats, Chuck decides, for there will never be another you. There will never be another young Howie, hankering beyond the bell of his tenor sax for that chick in the black beret and tight turtleneck back in that place in the village after the war. But Howie's melody lingers here. Short white Dean takes a black man's jaunty stroll among thick strings along a tall bass and gazes down at little Esme next to the audience, next to her daddy, with his European stubble and whispered accent. Dean sees her nod with the beat of Thing 1 and Thing 2, holding her Seuss in her lap in her stroller. Off to Perdido, another from the frisky 40s. From his raised and tuneful licorice stick, Howie pours Pernod for Esme's pair, while Glenn cajoles the kid in period jive. Our hearts arrest with Tony's paradiddles, but we find the past in this Perdido, where it's bailed out by the present and released to the custody of Esme's future. Raindrops fall from I'll Remember April, blurring our arid modern autumn. Now deeper in the set, the players get younger. Howie remembers what he used to say and how he said it. Glenn is writing down numbers in his little red book again. Chuck is picking out pretty colors for a seductive bouquet. Tony knocks on more than one door at the nurse's residence hall. They'll all remember April, and we with them, as they used to, over cheap shots poured out strong, late into the dim early hours after the gig. Thank you. Now we're going to go down here maybe a half a block or a block to the Montreux, where there was maybe a couple of years ago a tribute to Ruth Weiss, small r, small w, whom I once actually interviewed upstairs here for an article I wrote. She was there and reading her poetry, and there was good jazz music behind her. I came to North Beach with my then teenage daughter I think we split a cannabis gummy bear, had dinner at a wonderful Italian restaurant around the corner, and then it ended up going down there. I was basically composing a poem under Ruth's influence, and later found out that my daughter, seated elsewhere, was composing her own poem. Really nice when the apple doesn't roll too far from the tree. So this poem is for both Ruth Weiss and my daughter Natalie Kaliss. Eyes gazing, forever fixed and silent, above the luscious movement of jazz. Let us speak you beyond the silence of a vertical moment, our arpeggiated warm curve of a caress beyond the coffin, and will applaud each stretch along your jointed journey to joy. I'll blow your ascents. I'll bow your intestinal proximity to pleasure. I'll put the warm cheeks beside your smile. Then we'll smoke on into where the wind will wind us and sing a song along the streets. I got paved here for you to walk on towards what you wanted. And as you walked, I stood aside above my pavement and reflected to you all you might be, shone back to you and out to me. I anchored a pole for you to rest upon before crossing. Maybe wait a little while. Let your pretty thinking tickle all over your lovely life, then touch the rest of us. Thank you. So we got one more for now. Who knows what might happen later, I guess.
You got it. We're gonna.
Again, can we do a rock and roll poem?
You do any?
Yeah, rock and roll.
And by the way, what Glenn Frey of the Eagles, was it Frey? Is that how it's pronounced? Frey. Glenn Frey. Thank you for correcting it. All right, this was written right after Glenn Frey passed away. So it's the death and everlasting life of Glenn Frey. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down, angel tits, slowing down to pick up Glenn Frey. That guy from the Eagles taking the early ride, the early flight south to death. Swing low, sweet flatbed Ford, early to death and early to rise, makes a man a legend, not always wise, makes a man gone, makes me feed the jukebox. Over forever nightcaps, forever next morning, makes me wake up, diversify, too early. Slowing down forever to take a look at me, young and firm and friendly, to take a look at her, take a look at Linda, Winslowing south along 17 and 10 to Tucson, to take a look at Linda Ronstadt, young and ripe and hanging on a gear shift. Then hitching a ride on Linda's flatbed wooden stage way out west to the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip, full of LA girls and halter tops, full of kinds of fun, legals and illegals for guys becoming eagles, full of guitars to grab, drums to pound, keyboards to twiddle, full of the glad sounds of being, sung through Linda's succulent girl mouth, her chocolate eyes showing what we can do and should do to try and pull the reins in. Ride 'em, cowgirl, in tight jeans. After the set, we unplugged, went out back, and got older. We got sold, we bought, we broke up bands and marriages, we lost our hearing, or was it just the good music we lost? And here we are with Glenn, faded further than our jeans, on our last aching legs, long hair, braid and thinned, wheezing in the dust of Winslow, Arizona. Interstate 40 is the new Route 66. Glenn was 67. He wasn't new. But what a fine sight to see, a final sight, a girl, my lord, with angelic hoard, slowing down to get old Glenn and dust him off and carry him to where the songs are free and forever. She ain't singing, that girl, but she sure looks like Linda. When will she be back for the rest of us? Thank you.